Hi! Do you remember those wonderful TV shows from the 50s like Ozzie and Harriet and Father and the Best? Oh, I used to love them. They were great shows, weren't they? I mean, who could be more all-American than Ozzie and Harriet? And somehow Father always seemed to have the right answers for Butter Jane whenever they were facing a problem. Well, even though they love watching those shows, you have to admit, they were really idealistic. I mean, I don't know many people who came from an Ozzie and Harriet type of family. We had a family that was so perfect. Now, I'm not saying that we don't have nice families. I'm sure many of you had wonderful, happy childhoods. But today, psychologists are finding out that many people have family backgrounds that weren't as happy as what we saw on TV. There's a new term that's being used called dysfunctional families to help explain why some people who face problems as adults probably had a traumatic family life as they were growing up. So what is a dysfunctional family? Well, in very simplest of terms, a dysfunctional family is a family that doesn't follow the norm or the ideal family pattern. For example, our ideal family image is mother, father, and children. In many cases, father works and mother stays at home to raise the children. That's the ideal. I mean, that's how it works on Leave It to Beaver, isn't it? But today, things have changed quite a bit. In more and more families, father and mother work. Children are cared for by someone else, and the family spends quality time together on weekends. This is the 90s, and this is reality. But does this mean that a family with two working parents is dysfunctional? Well, not necessarily, because that's becoming more and more common today for both parents to work. But a family that is separated by divorce is considered dysfunctional. With divorce, things change around. Mother and father don't live in the same house anymore, and children go for weekend visitation. Sometimes this has a very traumatic effect on the children. This sure is what we used to see on TV, is it? How about children who come from families where a parent is an alcoholic? There's another dysfunctional family situation. Or maybe there's a parent who has a drug problem, or is a compulsive gambler. These situations can all lead to a dysfunctional family. Think about all the famous celebrities who are now revealing the kind of unhappy families they grew up in. We'll find out that these situations had such an impact on them as they were growing up. So now as an adult, these people are battling some of the same problems that their parents had. We might be wondering what this topic of dysfunctional families has to do with weight loss. Well, believe me, it has plenty to do with it. Because you see, a lot of people who had weight problems as adults have them because of a difficult family situation experienced as a child. I know this for a fact because I read countless letters from overweight people who had a very sad childhood. I'm not saying that their family situations is an excuse for their weight, just that it helps to explain why they have the problem. For example, I read a story about a girl whose parents got divorced when she was 11. The girl was very shy, and she never got involved in anything in school. She was always on the outside, watching the other kids, and she felt left out. As I probably guessed, she consoled herself with food. She used the food as a way of compensating for her sense of emptiness, isolation, and frustration. She wants things at home to be the way they used to be, before her parents got divorced. Years later, this young lady realized that food had become a substitute for what she wanted most, the love of her parents. She used food as her surrogate parent because the food was always there. It never said no to her. It never rejected her, and was never too busy for her. This girl came from a dysfunctional family situation, and in order to deal with it, she simply started to eating. It's becoming more and more clear to doctors and psychologists that when people grow up lacking the nurturing that they need, will probably turn to other things to help fill the emptiness. Those other things could be drinking, gambling, drug abuse, or eating. People use these dependencies as a way of making up what they missed out on as a child. So in helping you to understand why you have a weight problem, it might be a good idea for you to take a closer look at your own childhood. Did you experience anything that might have been traumatic or changed your whole life around? This can be very painful to face up to, I know that. But you gotta face it to it. Because once you do, you'll better understand why you're overweight. And also, you'll see why it's so important to stop depending on that food and start depending on you. Oh, almost forgot. I picked this to make your day.